Everyone talks about California like it's this dreamy paradise, but also the kind of place where a one-bedroom apartment can cost more than a new car. But here's the twist. California still has pockets of beauty, charm, and affordability. It's not all high-rises and sky-high prices. Scattered across the state are towns that deliver stunning views, small-town vibes, and enough affordability to actually breathe. So let's dive straight into the places that prove you really can live beautifully in California without selling your soul to rent. Number 10 on the list? Clear Lake. Now imagine standing on the shores of a shimmering blue lake, the surface stretching for miles like a sheet of glass. Surrounding you, rolling golden hills, dotted with oak trees, and right in the background, a dormant volcano watching over the valley. That's Mount Conocoto. The lake itself is California's largest natural freshwater lake, and the town of Clear Lake sits right along its southeastern edge. The whole place feels laid back in the best way. The community? Around 16,600 people, which means it's small enough to feel neighborly, but not so tiny you're isolated. Life here moves with the water, slow, steady, and full of nature. Clear Lake State Park draws in swimmers, campers, and anyone looking to unwind under oak-shaded coves. Meanwhile, Anderson Marsh is a quiet gem, with boardwalks that slip through tule marshes and tell stories of indigenous history. Take a hike up to Conocoto's summit and everything opens up. You'll see the whole lake basin from up there, a view that makes you stop and just stare. And if fishing's your thing, this place has serious bragging rights. In 2025, Clear Lake was named the top bass lake in the country. Locals proudly call it the bass capital of the West, and the stories about legendary catches, they're everywhere. The seasons give the town its rhythm. Spring brings boats and barbecues for the annual Catfish Derby, a tournament that's more like a weekend-long celebration for families. Then by fall, it's all about harvest. Orchards burst into life, and the Kelseyville Pear Festival lights up the valley with music, food, and good vibes. In between, local wineries make the most of the volcanic soil, pouring bold reds and crisp whites that taste even better with a breeze off the lake. And the best part? The price tag doesn't ruin the vibe. Most homes here land in the $200,000 to $250,000 range, and rentals around $1,000 a month. For lakefront living in California, that almost sounds made up. Sure, summers run hot and the occasional algal bloom pops up, but locals know how to manage it, because in Clear Lake, the rewards are worth it. Next up, the landscape shifts from sparkling waters to golden desert sand. Welcome to Blythe. This is the kind of place where the desert rolls right into a ribbon of green, thanks to the Colorado River. Blythe sits in the Sonoran Desert with around 17,300 residents, and it somehow feels both sun-baked and surprisingly lush. With over 350 days of sunshine a year, life here happens outside. Mayflower Park is a favorite. Families launch kayaks, cast lines, or just lounge under cottonwoods that offer blessed shade. And outside of town, dusty trails are made for ATVs and dirt bikes. As night falls, the sky turns into something out of a planetarium. Stars scatter across the horizon like confetti. Travel just a bit north, and the desert shows off one of its mysteries: massive geoglyphs called the Blythe intaglios. These ancient human and animal figures are so big, you can only really appreciate them from above. It's hard to believe more people haven't heard of them. And the town has its own flavor. February brings fiddles and banjos to the river during the Bluegrass Festival, one of California's longest-running music events. Need more nature? Joshua Tree National Park is just a drive away, and across the river in Arizona, the Cofa Wildlife Refuge stretches out wild and rugged under those endless skies. Even with all that to offer, Blythe doesn't blow your budget. Homes typically range from $200,000 to $240,000, and rentals hover around $900 a month. For a riverfront town in California, that's rare territory. Now, let's head a little inland where things get quirky. Number 8 is Coalinga. This is the kind of town where you might find yourself cheering on racing horned toads one weekend, then watching hot air balloons fill the sky the next. With around 16,700 residents, Coalinga blends small-town traditions with a deep sense of history. Set against the Gabilan Range and the Anticline Ridge, it's a valley town with a rugged pastoral charm. The land itself carries stories. Birdwell rock petroglyphs sit etched into sandstone boulders. Native American carvings that have watched over this place for centuries. Back in the day, this was a coaling station for Southern Pacific Railroad engines. Then they struck oil and the town boomed. You can still see the legacy at the R.C. Baker Memorial Museum, a charming little spot housed in a restored 1930s gas station. Out front, the salvaged bell tower from a school destroyed in a 1983 earthquake, standing tall like a badge of survival. And Coalinga loves to celebrate that spirit. Every May, the Horned Toad Derby takes over. Yes, actual horned toads racing. It's hilarious, weird, and deeply beloved. Then, come November, hot air balloons lift off from the fields at sunrise, turning the sky into a floating patchwork quilt. That's the Whammo Hot Air Balloon Rally. Living here isn't just charming, it's doable. Homes range from $250,000 to $290,000, with rents around $1,000. For a town with both character and affordability, that's a combo that's getting harder to find. Now on to Bakersfield, a city that doesn't hide its quirks. This place leans all the way into neon signs, country music, and a baseball park built facing the wrong way. It's got over 417,000 people, making it one of California's biggest cities, and yet it holds on to that hometown feel. Oil fields and citrus groves shape the land, while the city's soundtrack is rooted in the Bakersfield sound. But this isn't a place stuck in the past. The Fox Theatre still glows downtown. The Kern County Museum's Pioneer Village and Neon Plaza blend history and Instagram-worthy nostalgia. And there's a creative buzz here too. Filmmakers, artists, and musicians bringing new life to the Central Valley. When it comes to nature, Bakersfield holds its own. 2 hours in any direction can land you under sequoias, hiking in the Sierra foothills, or exploring alpine trails. Closer to town, Murray Family Farms offers cherry picking, corn mazes, and even hybrids like the Cherrim, part cherry, part plum. Despite the size and activity, the cost of living stays surprisingly grounded. Homes list between $350,000 to $400,000, with median rents around $1,000. Groceries average $350 to $400 a month, which is shockingly normal by California standards. Let's head north now to a foggy coastal town, Eureka. This city has a vibe like no other. With around 25,400 residents, Eureka sits between the Pacific Ocean and forests of ancient redwoods. It's home to a 350-acre Old Town district full of Victorian Greek Revival and neoclassical architecture. The Carson Mansion looks like it was pulled straight from a fantasy novel. Wander just a few blocks, and the city flips from historic to artsy. At Sequoia Park, the Redwood Skywalk lets you stroll high above the forest floor on suspended bridges. The Humboldt Botanical Gardens spread out over 44 acres, with winding trails and views of the bay wrapped in mist. On the water, kayakers paddle across Humboldt Bay as gulls wheel overhead. Even the old ferry, now famous for having just one bar stool, still floats, serving drinks and history in equal measure. Yes, it's a little foggy, but that fog wraps around the city like a movie set. And with median home prices between $350,000 and $420,000, and average rents around $1,200, it's still one of California's coastal bargains. Head inland and up a bit in elevation, and you'll find Alturas. At over 4,300 feet above sea level, this high desert town of 2,600 offers crisp nights, starry skies, and a vibe that feels both rugged and calm. The Warner Mountains rise in the east, the Modoc Plateau stretches out wild and wide, and the Pitt River cuts a quiet line through town. Alturas was once the Aumaui village of Kasalawi. That deep native history still whispers through the landscape. These days, the local economy revolves around the U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and long-standing ranching traditions. It's a gateway to untouched wilderness, plateaus, wetlands, and desert roads that seem to disappear into Nevada. And while it might be remote, Alturas doesn't feel disconnected. There's the Brass Rail Basque restaurant, where big plates are served family-style and strangers end up talking like neighbors. Scenic drives wind through the Warner Mountains, And nearby towns like Fort Bidwell and Cedarville feel like part of the same rhythm. Here's the kicker. Homes run between $150,000 and $170,000, with rent averaging just $800 a month. Next, the town where pine forests and sagebrush meet, Susanville. Tucked in northeastern California, Susanville is surrounded by the Sierra Nevada, the Cascade Range, and the Great Basin Desert. That mix of terrains gives it a unique character. Around 16,000 people live here, and its history reaches back to the gold rush before shifting into ranching and timber. Uptown is full of brick storefronts and murals that nod to local legends. And outside the city, the Biz Johnson Trail runs for 25 miles along a retired rail line, crossing trestle bridges and tunnels through vibrant fall foliage. Nearby, Lassen Volcanic National Park bursts with steaming fumaroles and alpine lakes. Eagle Lake offers boating and camping, and the Susan River is a quiet spot for fishing or hiking. Even with all that nature, the town stays affordable. Homes average $230,000 to $270,000, and rent stays under $1,000. Now let's talk Burney, home of one of the most spectacular waterfalls in the country. Burney Falls plunges 129 feet, pouring out 100 million gallons a day into mossy cliffs. Teddy Roosevelt called it the eighth wonder of the world, and honestly, it's hard to argue. The town itself is small, around 3,000 people, but it's hugged by the Cascade Range, Burney Mountain, and thick forest. The MacArthur Burney Falls State Park is the heart of it all, with campsites, trails, and a lake perfect for kayaking. The Pacific Crest Trail cuts nearby, bringing hikers from thousands of miles away. Around town, locals create art out of scrap metal and leave it along country roads as surprises. And yes, it's incredibly affordable. Homes run $170,000 to $230,000, with rent around $700 a month. That's almost unheard of for a place this scenic. Needles is next, and it's as hot as it is historic. Right on the edge of California, near Arizona and Nevada, this desert town sits along Route 66. Around 4,800 people live here, and the Colorado River helps take the edge off the legendary heat. Sunsets splash the Mojave sky with orange and crimson. Nearby, the Mojave National Preserve spreads out with wildflowers and volcanic mesas. Needles has history baked in. The 1908 El Garces station still stands. Home values fall between $170,000 and $200,000. Rent, about $750. That's it. And finally, we land in Redding. This is where glass and steel meet mountain trails. The Sundial Bridge, a massive work of art, stretches 700 feet across the river, acting as both a sundial and a bridge. By night, it glows aquamarine, like it belongs in a sci-fi movie. With about 93,500 residents, Redding balances urban culture with wild nature. Turtle Bay Exploration Park covers 300 acres, full of trails, museums, and wildlife. Just outside the city, Whiskeytown Lake sparkles with hidden coves. Lassen Volcanic National Park bubbles with geothermal features. Downtown, walkable, artsy, and alive with music and festivals. The cost of living? Still manageable. Homes range from $360,000 to $400,000. Rent averages around $1,300. So yes, California still has places where your money works hard, your neighbors wave, and the views knock the breath out of you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling which of these hidden gems you'd pack up and move to tomorrow.